Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Call. We are here taking your calls at 412-575-2600. You can tweet us also at KD Pomp, at Tim Benz PG8. And Tim is here with the Trib Live and DV pregame show, and it was popping today. I'm sure a lot of topics about the Steelers. And Tim, I want to get into it before we take our calls here coming up, and we invite you to call us here, and we are on the air till 11 o'clock. But quite simply, Duck or Mason, who's your pick?
I'd go with Duck. I think you should go with with Duck Hodges, because Mason Rudolph, for as much as I do value this season as a trial run to see what the Steelers have, I think they're getting the answer, and I don't think they should like it. It doesn't look like Rudolph is polished enough in the pocket. It doesn't look like Mason Rudolph maybe has a skill set that translates from what we saw in the Big 12 in college to the NFL. And you know what? They are pot committed on this season. They made the big trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They made another trade to get Nick Vannett at tight end. They don't have much of a draft coming up. They're not going to have a ton of cap space this upcoming season. So they've tried to make the playoffs, and here they are 11 games in, and they're still in a playoff position. So it would seem weird to me to go with the quarterback who I don't think right now gives you the better chance to win.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I only say it as I go week to week as well, because I, like you, agree they put a lot into this season. You wouldn't trade a number 1 and a number 5 in the same year unless you wanted results right now. And while you can argue that the Ravens and the Patriots are the two elite teams with Kansas City right behind them, who knows? As long as you get into the playoffs and it's wide open for all of these teams, even as a wild card, I go with who I think gives me the best shot right now. And what I've seen from Devlin Hodges is this. He went into that game against the Chargers, really a must-win. They were 1-4. He didn't make any glaring mistakes. He engineered the offense as they kind of dictated to him. He was in the Ravens game in relief, did pretty well when called upon, and now today, same thing. All I'm saying is week to week. That doesn't mean I'm soured on Mason Rudolph. I still think there's more evaluation there. I understand what you're saying.
Well, if there's more evaluation,
but I'm not going to give up on him. What I am doing is trying to give my team the best chance to win a game this week.
Yeah, if you think there's more evaluation to be had, then they should stick him in there.
The reason I think that is because he hasn't had everyone available to him. Neither will Hodges. I'm just saying at this point I got to go with what I see, and what I see is Rudolph struggling right now, a little bit in the pocket mostly.
Yeah, if they work better minimalist with Devlin Hodges, then stick with Devlin Hodges. Right. And to your point, if part of the evaluation is what is Mason Rudolph going to be like with James Conner as his running back and Juju Smith-Schuster as his wide receiver, and a healthy and full complement of offensive linemen, Marquise Pouncey not suspended, et cetera, they don't have that right now. And if Hodges moves a little bit better, if Hodges gets rid of the ball a little bit more quickly, he might be the better quarterback to use at this point. Now, Bob, the one wild card, the one caveat in this is that Mason Rudolph has been much better at home
right,
than he has been on the road. It hasn't been as much of a big deal home versus road for Hodges for whatever reason. I don't know how much the Browns factor plays into this with Mason Rudolph going up against that team after what happened last week with them literally turning him into a piñata in Cleveland with somebody swinging their helmet at the piñata in the tailgate.
Did that surprise you in Cleveland that you would see that today?
Not at all. And did you see the woman who was trying to do it?
Yes.
She was blind, inaccurate, and for the most part flailing, much like most of the people trying to defend Myles Garrett. So I thought it was fitting.
Jimmy Haslam's wife, who was wearing the 95 hat today. Did you see that in support? I mean, come on. It's like, what are you supporting?
Why are we martyring this guy?
Why are we supporting him? Because he almost assaulted someone. You can allege that it was a criminal assault on the football field. And yet, ownership, you don't have to go out to that extreme.
No.
You don't.
If Mason Rudolph had been hurt and was laid out, would anybody be defending him?
No.
But because he's healthy, it's okay to defend the action? It's so stupid. It's the ultimate disconnect in logic.
It really is. And real quick before we go to break here, 412-575-2600, I was surprised that Myles Garrett, after 6 days of silence on the topic of using a race card, pulled out a race card this week in an attempt to shorten his suspension. Were you? I was, because he hadn't said one word. He was I thought, owning up to what he did, and I like that. That's what you should do, own up to it, and then all of a sudden it changed.
If he didn't think of it as an excuse, or someone didn't supply the excuse to him, maybe Josina Anderson from ESPN, maybe direct messaging him the Black Sports Online column that had something to do with Mason Rudolph being a Trump supporter and so forth. Just as a for instance, maybe I'll hazard a guess here. If nobody had done that, then at least when he apologized, if he was going to say something about it, he should have said something then to at least make it look worthwhile. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you hold that back? Oh. If it really did happen, that would be an explanation for why you went as insane as you did. Not an excuse,
right?
but
it would
an
have
explanation.
been the raw emotion after a game. I expected something then to come up. It didn't. The next day there was a statement in which he, again, owned up to it. And all of a sudden now, and then afterwards to say, well, I thought that meeting in the NFL was supposed to be between us and it shouldn't have gotten out. That has nothing to do with it.
Well, of course it would have gotten out because they would have had to explain why they reduced it.
Right.
Which was just dumb to begin with. And Jarvis Landry going so far as to say, remember this, Jarvis Landry said, well, when was he supposed to tell you guys? I don't know, was he suspended before post-game comments? No, he wasn't.
412-575-2600. That's the number. Give us a shout. We got the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown coming up tonight. After the late news, Tim Benz is on the panel along with Jason Mackey and Chris Mack. We hope you tune in for that. We want your calls coming up next right here live on Pittsburgh CW. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, putting new roofs on Pittsburgh homes for over 25 years. Call Ireland Contracting at 1-800-NEW-ROOF.